Going live. We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Teacher Casey, and I am here with Cheri. Hey, Cheri.
Good morning.
And I see Rebecca is first no teacher, no show for you. So, Cheri, why don't you just say hi, introduce yourself, or maybe tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I would be happy to do that. Thank you very much, Casey, for inviting me. And I don't think I've ever told you this, Casey, but
What's
I've
that?
been a fangirl of yours for a while,
So funny.
but it's true. So my name is Cheri, and let's see. When people ask me what I do, that's kind of hard because I do a lot of different things. But I think this morning when I was thinking about it, the best way to describe myself is an entrepreneur, I think, because I want to have my own business. I do a variety of things trying to figure it all out.
Mhm.
And so, but I started out as a speech therapist. That's my initial training. And then I started working online with speech therapy. And then I started, teaching with VIP Kid. And I was like, why would I want to teach with VIP Kid? Because, I can make more money as a speech therapist. But I tried it and I was sold because I didn't have to do all the IEPs and all the crazy paperwork that is necessary as a speech therapist, as a speech language pathologist, and plus the kids. Oh my gosh. I fell in love with the kids, and I see
Yes.
several of those kids still today. They're in
Mhm.
Hong Kong, so luckily I'm still able to see them.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah.
still have classes for next week, so I wonder if some of mine are too.
Yeah, I it was really weird because at first they were like, no, you can't. And then the learning partner was messaging me, hey, can you open up these slots? And I'm like, okay. So I'll keep
Good.
going. I'll keep going. And then I guess when everything about a year ago, I was recognizing that a couple of things. First of all, I've never been an early morning person. And I know it's well talked about in a lot of the Facebook groups that it's just a really hard life to get up so early every day and then have to be present throughout
Mhm.
the rest of your day, whether you have another job or whether you have your family that you're caring for. And then
Right.
by 8 o'clock, you're like done.
Yeah.
And I have teenagers, so they want to do things at night. And most of the time they don't want me, but every once in a while they'll come in and knock, knock, knock on my bedroom door at 10 o'clock when I'm almost out. Mom, I want to talk to you about something. And, I wanted to be able to be present for them. So
Right.
about a year ago, I started trying to think about how can I have an exit strategy so that I
Mhm.
have other options when I don't want to get up anymore
Right.
before the sun's out.
Right. But still work at home, owning your own
Yeah.
business, making your own hours, flexible
Yeah.
schedules. Yes. Who doesn't want that? I mean,
True. So true.
yeah.
Exactly. And, also, I think for me, it was one of those things I'm like 50 is really close.
Mhm.
And I've started to reevaluate some things. I know a lot about myself now that I didn't really recognize even 5 years ago. And I know what I'm really passionate about. And
Mhm.
now that I don't feel that the best part of my life is over, I feel like
Right.
I've learned so much that now I can live my best life. And my kids are almost grown, and that makes me sad. So that's
Yeah.
another reason why I want to be able to work through my day with my own schedule so that
Mhm.
I can adjust and I can be present for those things and do those extra things for my kids
Yeah.
that I just want to be able to do. So
Right.
that's why I segued into thinking about other options. And when I worked at Zebra English as a mentor teacher, I was doing other things besides teaching. I was doing the interviewing, I was
Mhm.
writing a workshop, I was giving workshops, I was proofreading their newsletter. I was
Oh.
doing proofreading of blogs. I wrote a couple of blog articles for them. I had a blog from my adoption process with my boys. And when I was a kid, I won awards for writing creative stories. And I just stopped doing that because
Right.
life happened. And so I got to thinking, what's what I enjoy doing? And that's writing, that's helping other people. And so that's kind of where I'm at today.
That's awesome. Hey, Jerry. Jerry said hello. She said, my son always likes to talk late at night. He is 24. Yeah, Jerry and I, our kids are like similar in ages too. So, mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rebecca said, what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
Rebecca said she wants to be present for her kids too. Yeah. So I see there's a couple more on here. Say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Join us in the chat. Feel free to ask questions. For those that don't know, I have been working on something called Groove, and Cheri is actually my VA, which I didn't even know what a VA was, a virtual assistant. So can you take someone through like, what is a VA? What does a VA do?
Yeah, yeah. So let's think about what
All,
an administrative assistant is. So when we think
all the
about the
things.
yeah, I mean, it really is all encompassing. So when you see a job ad for administrative assistant, a lot of people think, oh, that's a receptionist. Oh, that's a secretary. Well, really, an administrative assistant is the right hand person for
Yeah.
maybe the business owner or the manager of a business. And so really you're doing all those administrative tasks that you could be doing if I was actually sitting with you in the sunny state you live in, which is not like mine. But I can do it virtually from home. And so it's what you want it to be. So there was one teacher at Zebra English who actually, she was my first referral there, and she had small kids and she was working crazy hours, Casey. Like she had like over 40 students she was working with, and I did not know how she was doing it. She had a newborn too.
Yeah.
And she finally got to the point where she was just like, I just can't keep working these types of hours. She was burnt out. And so she started working as a virtual assistant, and I was kind of watching her journey a little bit. And I got to think, I could probably do those things. So I sat down, and this is what I encourage people to do. Sit down when you're like, what do I do now? Sit down and write. What are the things that you have done in your life so far? And you're going to be amazed. And let's say, if you say, I've only taught online. Oh, only? Really? That is huge. You're running a household too. I mean, what other you could probably change a tire, right? I mean, like we have a variety of things that we could do. And so write all those things down, and then kind of go through and circle the things that you enjoy doing, right? And I am a nerd. I loved English class. And that's why I'm a speech language pathologist. I loved conjugating sentences. Who likes that? I mean,
this is why I needed her, because she likes all the things I don't. We are very good together. Let me just say that.
Yeah. And I love giving the voice to people who need that voice shared, because Casey, you have so much knowledge and your energy is so like amazing. Like people just want to listen to you and watch you, and you're real and genuine. And I think that's what I want people to recognize, is that I am not an amazing person. My life is oftentimes messed up, chaotic, whatever. I would call
like
it another name, but I'm not going to cuss on your channel. But I mean, it is. And I mean, I doubt myself. I don't cry often, so that's not it. But I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I left a job that was stable, that had benefits and all of this, but I hated my job. I loved the kids, but I hated like just, and my kids were always texting me, Mom, I forgot this. And it was so much to struggle and balance. And so I am so glad that I left. I don't regret leaving, but there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to manage what happens next?
Right. And it can be a little bit scary to just jump in and start owning your own business. And hey, is that Brooke? Hey, thanks for coming. What was I going to say? Jerry said she's heard about VAs and has been interested for a while. Yeah. So can I just tell them kind of what you do for me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, do it for sure.
Okay. So those that know me, I squirrel a lot. That's the term I always use with my ADHD. So Cheri has hooked me up with like a Trello board where her and I, where we can share ideas. And if I need something like on a weekly basis, I am giving a pitch and Cheri helps me come up with the word. So, and make it sound like me. I want to sound professional, but I don't want to be robotic. And for me, I need help with putting my words to the script, but also being real and sounding like me. So I have a hard time doing that. So she's able to do that. And I basically just say I need lots of exclamation points. Let's see. She helps me with my scripts, emails to send out, which I have to send them out.
So maybe I need to take that. Maybe I need to take ownership of that, and we need to figure out your MailChimp so I can just drop that email in and send it out to your list.
Yeah. So basically, when my squirrels are a little bit much to handle, Cheri can help me rein them all in.
Yeah. And to be honest, I do more copywriting for Casey than I actually do virtual assistant stuff, because Casey, you do have you actually could be a VA as well for a lot of these tasks, because she's like, sometimes she'll be like, she has great ideas, and virtual assistants will often give ideas to whoever their client is. So for example, I also have several companies that are asking me for ideas on how to manage their social media. And so I put together proposals. I also shoot videos for a couple of entities, and these are people that I already were working with. And so that's kind of, if you're thinking about wanting to branch out into another area, whether it's being a VA or doing copywriting, or maybe being an entrepreneur and having an online business, maybe doing affiliate marketing, all of those things, you already have a network. And as an online teacher, we know people all over the world. And I mean, Casey and I are good friends. I may never be in the same room with her, but like,
not yet.
We communicate all the time. I have a really dear friend, Joanne Foster, who I met through Zebra English. She was my referring teacher, and we still work together. I have probably 20 people, and networking is crucial. I always really network. I'm in Facebook groups. I try to help others. I'll share my opinion, but I'm also respectful of others and be like, hey, this has been my experience, but that doesn't mean that it's your experience. I always tell when I used to coach, I always told my athletes, take the best, leave the rest. Because there are times when as an athlete or as a person, well, people always want to give you advice, right? And sometimes the advice is like, well, that does not sound like a good idea to me. But, there might be one little kernel that can be helpful for you. So you take that little bit of information and you add it to your toolbox, and then you move on. But networking has allowed me so many opportunities in the last probably 2 years. I would say every big next step in my career has been because I was networked and I reached out to someone, and it wasn't like I was trying to sell anything. I was just like, hey, I saw that you had this problem.
Right.
Here's a possible solution. And now it's starting to come together. I still have days where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But I look at my Trello board, and then I go and I do a task that is really, I feel like, okay, I can do this, because then you need that sense of accomplishment. And that's why I think having some type of organizational system when you work from home, where you can list your most important tasks and go through and time block your day. So you have certain times where that's my creative time, because we all need time to think about things. So Casey, I want to know, when do you get your good ideas?
Usually out walking when I have no paper or anything to write them down.
I've noticed that when you're out with Goliath, like I might message you and you're like, I'm walking, but here's blah, blah, blah. And for me, it's in the shower. I think it's because there isn't any noise except for that white noise. And I love taking hot showers, and it's so relaxing for me. I love to take baths too. For me, it's taking a bath, eating chocolate with peanut butter, and reading a book or watching Netflix. Oh, you see, I knew you were my soul sister.
Right? Well, a funny thing about that, those of you that teach for VIP Kid know, like, we're supposed to, or some of us do, have rewards. So I'm traveling on emergency leave right now, and I end up in this hotel, and I'm not supposed to be. I mean, all of a sudden I have these classes, I have no rewards, I have nothing. So I'm like, all right, Google Slides, and it's almost Halloween. I go down to the hotel lobby and buy 5 candy bars. I'm like, all right, 5 rewards. $3 a piece for candy bars in the hotel lobby. But
how many classes are you gonna have to teach to recover that?
right. But since being here, I've had 12 classes. So,
Wow.
I needed something. Yeah. I have about 4 a day, and I still do through next week. I have 4 classes per day. So I needed something. I did have 5 candy bars. I now have 4. After my classes this morning, I totally ate the Snickers. So, which I already told on myself and told Cheri that I was eating Snickers. But so yes,
but it's protein. You needed the protein.
Right. But peanut butter, chocolate, that's my thing too. But going for walks is just, for me, it's, I don't know, it's fresh air. It's calming for me. Just me and my puppy just walking. So yeah, that's where my ideas come from. And I do think I can come up with ideas, but I have a hard time like forming them. This is what I'm thinking could happen, but how do I go about it? What are my next steps to accomplish it? So
yeah. And I also have some different types of symptoms that would be considered ADD as well. I tend to, I don't know, I've just found some different ways to try and deal with that. But my kids have ADD or ADHD. And so I know how to try to help by working in short bursts, right? And then getting up and taking your dog for a walk. So for me, I just have little tiny dogs, so they can't walk very far. So I just take them out in the yard and, just kind of watch them. Or I hate doing housework, but I'll fold some laundry. Or, I try to stand up as much as I can because we sit so much. And that's one thing that I really dislike about working virtually from home is sitting.
This chair.
I know it's not comfortable. Oh man.
In between classes, I was like standing up. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So this is I
have
a pillow that I sit on, and my chair isn't the most comfortable, but
okay. Those in the chat, let us know. Do you like, I know we are not the only ones sitting on like chairs that we need pillows and stuff.
Yeah. So I got to tell a story. So why I started with VA work. See, I'm kind of like, my squirrels are over there right now.
Go for it.
So in the spring, I knew that things, we knew that things were going to unravel in China.
Right.
And I knew that I didn't want to continue with my job. And I'd already decided that I wasn't going to continue after the school year. I'd made that decision in my mind. And I'm a person, I hate making decisions. But once I make a decision, like, I'm done, right?
You're on it.
So I'd made the decision, and I reached out to someone that I'd worked with for years. She was a coach. She was actually a mental performance coach for athletes, and she'd worked with my daughter, and she had posted that she was looking for help. And I was like, well, I know her really well. I know her product. I know she's great. And she took a chance on me, and I worked part-time as I finished out the school year. And then I went full-time, and I was doing a lot of things. She was kind of helping me. She wanted me to run that branch of her company because she owns several companies. So I would set up virtual events. I would also set up, she would go and speak at different places, and I would set up the venues. I did the interviews with the people that we were going to see. I did a lot of different things, and it taught me that, hey, I can do these different things. And then I realized I didn't want to do sales, and part of it was having to sell to people. And so I was like, oh, this checks all the boxes, but I'm not really working for myself. It's not my business, and I don't like sales. So if I remove those two things, it would work out pretty well. And so that's what kind of pushed me to the next step. But what I learned through that process is that you have to reach out. If you see something, don't be afraid to try, because the worst they can say is no.
Right.
I told you that I sent that message to the head person at KidPass. I mean,
Mhm.
that I
Yeah.
was like, that's pretty ballsy, but whatever.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
messaged him. I'm like, I see you're hiring a bunch of people. I don't quite meet the exact specifications, but I think I have a pretty awesome
Yeah.
skill set.
Here's what
Now,
I can do for you.
I haven't heard back, but you just never know. So,
Right.
yeah. So what, again, going back to it, look at what your skills currently are,
Mhm.
network. Um, I don't develop any of my own stuff. I see what other people are doing and then I tweak it, right? And
Right.
I'm not stealing lessons on KidPass or anything like that. But I just see what other people have done
Mhm.
and then I shape it in a way that I think it works for me. And I make mistakes every day. And but here we are. So are there any
Yeah.
questions? I can't see the
I don't
questions in the chat.
I don't see any questions yet. Rebecca said sometimes she sits and sometimes she stands for classes. I have an electric desk. So when my desk is clean enough, I'll stand. But if my desk isn't cleaned off, I can't like put it up or down because it'll squish everything that I don't have put away.
I have one of those things I got at Office Max. It's a podium really that goes up and
Okay.
down because I teach in the corner of my kitchen. And so I
Mhm.
don't have enough space for like a really nice desk, but I do think that those are really cool. The other thing that I wanted to share that teaching online taught me
Mhm.
was, okay, so my kids, before I taught online, I would get up and I would have to wake them up, right?
Mhm.
And I hated it because my youngest son is awful to wake up. He has ADD. And so I'd wake him up and give him his meds and it would take a while. And it was really difficult. Like a lot of days it would end up in tears before I got on the
Yeah.
bus. It was so hard. And so I'm waking up because I had 4 kids. Well, I still have 4 kids, but they were,
Right.
and 3 of them are within 2 years of each other. And so it was just a lot. And so they got a little bit older. I'm like, okay, I could probably teach online in the morning. And what it did was it forced them to be able to set their own alarm, to
Yeah.
get up on by themselves, to make their breakfast, to make sure they have everything, and to get out the door.
Yeah.
Because I'm teaching. Now they're
Mhm.
coming in the kitchen and I'm giving them the stink eye, you better be quiet, you know,
Yeah.
but I've got really good at learning when to mute and stuff. But that's one thing that I never realized that teaching online did was that it forced them to be
Be
responsible
more independent. Yeah.
and more independent. And otherwise, I would have probably continued to coddle them.
Mhm.
And so it made me a better parent in some ways. And last night I was talking to my daughter and I was telling her about this new possible copywriting position that I was really excited about. And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I really can do it. I don't know if I have the skills. She said, Mom, you've got this. And I was like, here's my almost 16-year-old daughter who doesn't have very many nice things to say about anyone or anything. But when she said that, I was like, oh, she believes in me.
Thanks. Oh, love it. Love it. So why do you think online teachers will make good candidates for VAs?
I think online teachers would do a phenomenal job in the VA world because we already have so many of the skills and we don't even realize it. Okay. So we work well with others.
Mhm.
Um, because oftentimes we have to deal with parents, we have to deal with LPs. We're working with other teachers all the time. We're collaborating. We are self-starters, right? So
Mhm.
like it takes initiative to get up at 5 a.m. or 4,
Yeah.
3 for those West Coasters. I mean, it does take initiative and we have to be flexible. Because when you teach online, oh my goodness, remember when VIP Kid got rid of the firemen and then it went to the automatic like robot
Right.
chat box? I mean, that was pretty frustrating, right? Or when you're
Yeah.
like, you can't hear your student and you're calling the fireman and you're trying to troubleshoot, you have to be flexible.
Yeah.
And
I didn't have one
so
show up today.
at all.
I couldn't hear my student. And then eventually they just left and I sat there until 25. I'm like, oh.
I mean, what else can you do?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to be flexible and that is a key skill in so many fields, but being a virtual assistant, you do, like you have to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to communicate effectively, understand what people are trying to say. And then if you don't understand, being like courageous and saying, I don't understand. And constantly, and organization, yes. I mean, we're all have different ways. So Casey, your teaching probably appears very organized. We've taught together on KidPass, and I know you say that organization can sometimes be difficult for you, but you pull it together. And so that's why we write feedback. So most of us can write pretty decently. We also, what else? With curriculum, we can adjust to what our student needs. So when there's a client, there might be a client that might be a little difficult to deal with. We're able to kind of adjust, read people. We read people really well. In the online classroom, we can't look at all the context of a situation. So we have to look for those little tiny clues in maybe our students' facial expression, how they're sitting, things like that, body language. And that's really key in the virtual world.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about VAs, what they do, put them in the chat box, or if you're watching the team replay, that's always me. Put questions in the comment section and I'll get them to Cheri. I did want to ask, now you also do, Joseph, we also have a proven record for being productive while working remotely. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about independent teaching as well. You do have some experience with independent teaching.
Yes. So I've been teaching some private students for a couple of years now, just a couple of them, because I had a couple that I have a lot of parents that are teachers actually in China. And at first I was like, oh, I don't want to teach a teacher's kid, but it's been really, really a great situation. So they left Zebra English, and one mom was really ballsy. Should I say that? Gutsy. And she gave me her email address in feedback, which is it was a no-no. And I was like, well, she gave me the email address. She's not with the company anymore. So I'm just going to email her back. And that one parent to this day has brought me 10 students.
Wow. That's great.
So again, it's networking and just making connections with people. I'm not the most amazing teacher. I don't have the most amazing lesson plans, but I think that is a skill set that I do have. I connect with people and they trust me, and the kids and I have great relationships. I can read them. I know, oh, they're having kind of a rough day, or I can call them out. Like I had my one little student and she was just not focused. And I'm like, what's going on today? And she's like, and then she was able to kind of tell me that she had something that had happened that day, and she was just not feeling the lesson. She was tired. So, all of those things, but private teaching is not for everyone. I totally get that, but it's totally doable too. Take it in small chunks. I get overwhelmed. So don't try to take on 20 students at once. Pick 2 or 3 different curriculum that you like. Or some people just like, oh, I want to pick this curriculum and that's all I'm teaching. And if the parents don't like it, fine. That's your choice. That's what I love about private teaching. So I took the day off yesterday, Casey. Did I tell you that? No. Okay. So private teaching, one of the benefits, I don't have contracts with my parents. I don't have a bunch of no-shows either. But one of the benefits of private teaching is Tuesday, I was like, I'm sorry, my dogs are barking. My daughter just walked in. But anyway, private teaching is such that, and I have relationships with my parents that every once in a while, I just need to take a day off.
Yeah.
And Tuesday, I was feeling pretty like run down, and I knew I wasn't sick, but I kind of needed a mental health day.
Yeah.
And so Tuesday, I just messaged them and said, we won't have class tomorrow. And everybody's like, that's fine, because I do packages. And so it doesn't matter. I mean, the package goes out, and there's every once in a while, they'll have a conflict too. It works really well for me. And I didn't have to think, oh gosh, how many strikes against my thing am I going to have?
Right.
And so, yeah.
Someone in your group now, Cheri, it does have a Facebook group, Teacherpreneurs, right?
Yes. Teacherpreneur tips and tricks.
Yeah, so she does have one if you're starting independent teaching.
Yeah.
Someone asked about getting payment from parents. If can you use Stripe? And now for me, for Groove, I know we can connect Stripe to our Groove, but she had
Mm.
asked about WeChat and
Mhm.
Stripe.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. So there is a wonderful, so I give a lot of tips that I get from
Mhm.
other people. So Kendall Reuer, Reuer, I believe it is, has a wonderful video on YouTube on how to set up Stripe with WeChat. So what you can do
Hmm.
is you can actually set up a Stripe account and
Okay.
you can link it with WeChat Pay. That is
Oh, okay.
possible. And one way that people have done that is they will set up a website, and you
Okay.
can set up free websites. There's strikingly.com is a place where you can set up a free website. Groove is a
I
place
was
you can
hoping
set
you'd
up
mention that.
a free website. Yes. And I'm in the midst of working on mine, but Groove is a website that you can, and then because Stripe will ask for a website to verify your business. Now, when I actually verified Stripe, I used my LinkedIn to
Oh, okay.
verify. But I know some people are having trouble with getting Stripe to verify their business if they use social media. So there are ways of quickly and easily setting up Groove. I think you could do it in what, maybe 15 minutes,
Yeah,
Casey?
pretty quick. Mhm.
Like pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
you set up your website. So when you fill out the Stripe application, it's pretty easy. Now I will say I had to contact Stripe like 3 or 4 times, and I did that via their
Mhm.
chat box. I didn't actually call them.
Okay.
So I just chatted with them, and I was working on my computer already, so it was no big deal. It did take
Yeah.
about a week and a half to get all of it done. So now
Hmm.
all my parents pay me via Stripe. I email them an invoice, and
Mhm.
they have to open the invoice on a tablet or their computer and scan it with their phone in order for it to work effectively. I also have used PayPal in the past. So
Mhm.
PayPal is an option as well for many. Now, a lot of Chinese parents maybe don't realize that PayPal is an option. So sometimes that
Yeah.
can be a bit foreign for them. A couple of things you can do: go to Private Teachers Abroad, Michelle's website or
Hmm.
Facebook group. It's amazing. There are tons and tons of posts about Stripe on there. Also, you
Right.
can be all things China VIP Kid with
Oh, yeah.
Daniel's website or
Mhm.
Facebook group. He has actually translated into Chinese the steps for parents on how to utilize Stripe and or
Oh,
PayPal. And then there's also audio links there as well. And he's done a
nice.
video that is on his Facebook page recently that shows
Huh.
parents in Chinese how to do it. So it's just a matter of doing some research,
Research.
finding those things.
I I set up my Stripe live on YouTube. So I do have a video on my other channel, Entrepreneur Life with
Wow.
Casey and Tamra. And Tamra actually taught me how to set up a test Stripe account too.
Yes.
And you'll
Mhm.
want to have that. Sorry, I have to adjust my tush in this chair. You'll want to you'll want to have that if you are building a business. You'll want to make sure the test goes through as well. So yeah, I think Stripe is a pretty good
Yeah,
thing,
I
but I
did.
had no idea about WeChat and Stripe, but
Yeah, I did
good to know.
a test invoice, and you can always, if you have that one parent that, you've had a relationship with, you can always say, hey, let's do this test one, and have them send a small amount of money and
Yeah,
then have it come through. So
excellent.
yeah.
Good. So anything else for teachers getting started, either independent or VA, if they're looking for more
Yeah.
information?
So get on Facebook groups. There's so much free information. Like I said, Missy Virtual is a VA that I met through Zebra English. Don't feel like you have to buy expensive courses to become
I
a
was
VA.
just gonna ask you that.
I mean,
Okay.
there are some great ones, and I will
Mhm.
say I do invest in myself. I
Yeah.
actually have a business coach, Minchi Chu, that helps me with my Chinese market students, helping me kind of figure out how to navigate through WeChat and
Okay.
also learn about cultural things, how to negotiate with money, which I don't really negotiate when it comes to my rates, but I haven't had a lot of
Yeah.
issues with that.
That would be hard for me. I'd be like,
I know you would cave, Casey. You totally would. That's why you need me to do it for you. Know your worth. But so what was I going to say? So I do invest. Actually, what I've done most recently for those people who do like to write, I have purchased a course at AWAI, which is copywriting. Copywriters are the people who write content for websites. They're the people at Groove who write the letters that in the emails that get sent out.
I even bought a copywriting thing to do it for me, and I still didn't use it. I'm like, I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, totally. Let me use it. So I'm working through their program. I have a mentor that I met when I was working for that person who was a public speaker. Like I went to some what are called Mastermind Groups.
I like Mastermind.
And I loved those. Those are great. So if you can get into a mastermind group, like the people that were there were multimillionaires, and I'm just sitting there going,
That's one of my goals, is to make a Groove mastermind.
Oh, I'm so on that with you.
I don't feel like I have enough info to share yet. So I'm like,
well, let's work that, because that would be amazing. So yeah, get in groups where you can learn from others. And if you are someone who does know, be a mentor for others. Yeah. I don't feel like I don't know quite enough. I know enough to get through myself, and I'm figuring it out. Maybe one day I can help mentor others with copywriting, but not yet.
I love talking with Cheri. Her and I are very like-minded. We both want our own businesses. We're both goal-driven. And so I think getting with like-minded people is very important.
Yes.
Surround. I'd rather build a business with someone, even though it's my business. She has her business, but we're building our separate businesses together.
Yeah. I mean, it's a network.
So much fun.
And I think women supporting other women is fantastic. And when people are like, you can't have it all, you're right. We can't have it all. I am not amazing in all aspects of my life. I wish that I could cook meals for my family. I'm a terrible cook, but that's not important to me. And my kids are still healthy and they're fit. My son is an amazing cook, so he cooks for me, but you can do the things that are important to you. And it's important to me. I want to work from home. I want to be present for my family, and I want to make money.
Yes.
And help other people.
Right. That's awesome. So that is all I have. Do you have anything else we need to talk about before we head out today?
Guys, reach out to someone. Don't hold yourself back, because you can. It's just, don't say, I don't know enough, I can't do it. Reach out to someone, ask questions. So many people are willing to help. Casey, she knows a lot about Groove and marketing, and I'm learning from her. I learned from my friend Jen in Texas, who's an amazing business coach and speaker. That is how I've developed myself, not by spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on courses and training.
Right. That's the good thing about trading off too. Cheri said, I'm overwhelmed, honestly, but trying new things. It is an overwhelming time right now. And I don't know if it's just because of these past couple of months with my family stuff, but in general, there's a lot going on. But thank you so much, Cheri, Rebecca, Jessica, Joseph. Thank you all for being in the chat and hanging with us today. And those of you watching the replay, thank you so much. Cheri, I will see you in a few hours for our Kid Pass class.
Yes, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great rest of your week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.